Monocytes make up what percent of the average white blood cell count? A. Less than 1%. B. 2 to 10%. C. 26 to 33%. D. 55 to 70%. The answer is B. 2 to 10%. Monocytes, the largest of all the leukocytes, make up just 2 to 10% of the average white blood cell count. These white blood cells will mature into macrophages to phagocytose foreign matter. Monocytes make up what percent of the average white blood cell count? A. Less than 1%. B. 2 to 10%. C. 26 to 33%. D. 55 to 70%. The answer is B. 2 to 10%. Monocytes, the largest of all the leukocytes, make up just 2 to 10% of the average white blood cell count. These white blood cells will mature into macrophages to phagocytose foreign matter. What is the role of platelets in the blood? A. Gas exchange. B. Cytotoxicity. C. Clotting. D. Histamine release. The answer is C. Clotting. Platelets are small cell fragments that play an important role in hemostasis, or clot formation. Once activated, platelets release clotting factors that recruit more platelets till a clot is formed and bleeding stops. The process by which white blood cells move into and out of blood vessels is dash. A. Phagocytosis. B. Diapedesis. C. Granulocytosis. D. Endocytosis. The answer is B. Diapedesis. Diapedesis, also known as leukocyte extravasation, is the process by which white blood cells move into and out of blood vessels. This process includes 4 stages: chemotraction, rolling adhesion, tight adhesion, and endothelial transmigration. This process is integral in the delivery of white blood cells to sites of infection and in their return into the bloodstream to mobilize and facilitate the excretion of waste. All of the following white blood cells are granulocytes except dash. A. Monocytes. B. Basophils. C. Neutrophils. D. Eosinophils. The answer is A. Monocytes. Neutrophils, eosinophils, and basophils are all granulocytes, meaning they contain visible granules within their cytoplasms. These granules contain acids and antimicrobial enzymes, and are released at the site of infection. Monocytes and lymphocytes are granulocytes, meaning they do not contain granules in their cytoplasm but rather destroy foreign proteins by other means, such as phagocytosis and cytotoxicity. Platelets are derived from what parent cell? A. Plasma cells. B. Megakaryocytes. C. Erythrocytes. D. Progranulocytes. The answer is B. Megakaryocytes. Platelets are derived from megakaryocytes, cells produced in bone marrow, kidney, liver, and spleen, with large, lobed nuclei. Platelets are formed within the cell and then released into plasma. Erythrocytes, mature red blood cells, plasma cells, a type of B cell, and progranulocytes, precursors to neutrophils, basophils, and eosinophils, take no part in the creation of platelets, which are fragments of cells, not whole cells. What is the average amount of blood in the adult body? A. 3.5 to 5.5 liters. B. 6 to 7.5 liters. C. 4.5 to 6 liters. D. 7.5 to 9 liters. The answer is C. 4.5 to 6 liters. The average adult body contains 4.5 to 6 liters of blood, depending on size and gender. Blood volume, BV, can be calculated by the following formula, given the hematocrit, HC, and plasma volume, PV. BV equals PV divided by 1 minus HC. The most common free plasma proteins include all of the following except dash. A. Globulin. B. Major histocompatibility complex, MHC. C. Albumin. D. Fibrinogen. The answer is B. Major histocompatibility complex, MHC. The three main types of proteins in the blood are albumin, globulin, and fibrinogen. Major histocompatibility complex is not a free plasma protein, but rather a class of proteins found on the surface of all nucleated cells, MHC class I, and on the surface of certain immune cells known as antigen-presenting cells, MHC class II. They play an important part in immune function by displaying foreign antigens for communication between leukocytes. Lymphocytes, natural killer cells, T helper cells, and B cells, make up what percentage of white blood cells? A. 55 to 70%. B. 1 to 3%. C. 26 to 33%. D. 5 to 15%. The answer is C. 26 to 33%. Lymphocytes are the second most common class of white blood cells, making up 26 to 33% of white blood cells. Which of the following blood cells is anucleate, lacking a nucleus? A. Natural killer cells. B. Dendritic cells. C. Megakaryocytes. D. Erythrocytes. The answer is D. Erythrocytes. The only anucleate blood cells are erythrocytes, or red blood cells. These cells are created with nuclei, but each daughter cell will then lose its nucleus in order to create more surface area for hemoglobin to bind oxygen and for easier passage through narrow capillaries.